Hey guys, so welcome back to another episode of Current Weather Snapshots. So, in this episode, we have something new. We're looking at what changed since the previous snapshot. So, before we get into the current events this week, I would appreciate if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay tuned for future content. So let's get straight into it. So what changed since last week? So, first of all, Tropical Storm Christina in the Eastern Pacific did not become as strong as expected, and only peaked at about 70 miles per hour winds, and it has now spun down to a remnant low. Now, in the Atlantic, the Invest 98L went on to become Tropical Storm Faye, and it would peak at about 60 miles per hour before making landfall on the east near New York City, with the threat of heavy rain and potential flooding. As for last week's heat wave, it has shifted east. Last week, the core of the heat wave was over the southwestern United States. So now the core of the heat wave has shifted to the deep south, and it's gonna shift further east over the next few days. So now with that out of the way, let's get into what's happening now. So the first thing that's happening now is tropical activity has had somewhat of a comeback in the east. In the Pacific, in the Western Pacific, which had been dormant for weeks before this point. Recently spun up a tropical depression called Karina. However, that storm never became a tropical storm, and it has now spun down to a remnant low. In the Eastern Pacific, there is a storm called Tropical Depression 6E, and it has the potential, though it's not very likely at this point, to develop into a brief tropical storm before it dissipates. In the Atlantic, there's not much going on right now. There are a couple of disturbances that are being tracked for development. However, all of them are pretty low, and the National Hurricane Center itself doesn't have any disturbances that have a chance of developing. So that's one thing. The second thing is that there is the arrival of the North American Monsoon. Basically, what happens? Every year from mid-July to mid-September, a stream of moisture heads northward from Mexico and into the Four Corners states. And unlike the Indian monsoon, which is super consistent and drops heavy rain, pretty consistent, all day long, the North American monsoon is basically a stream of heavy thunderstorms. However, in some places, it can drop a lot of precipitation for a lot of the year's precipitation. So, yesterday, the Four Corners saw a ton of thunderstorm activity. And basically, this is a sign that the monsoon is starting. Couple that with the fact that the heat wave is starting to break down over the western United States, and increased chances for showers and thunderstorms across the Four Corners states over the next week or so. And you've got a pretty good sign that one of the biggest yearly precipitation events over the Four Corners is starting. So yeah, that was this week's Current Weather Snapshot. I would appreciate if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay tuned for future content. Thanks, and have an awesome day.